I think I'm alone. Scott, I'm trying to find your "Are You Hearing Me" banner, and I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe I'll try a different banner, and then I'll hide it. Oh, okay. Got rid of it. Anyway, here to talk about the transcendental argument for God, or anything for that matter, and has a little bit to do with JayGee, who tried to have a conversation with the other day, but then they're like, how do you justify that? How do you justify that? And the whole idea behind Van Tillian apologetics is to undermine anything your opponent says, no matter what it is, and to keep coming back at them that no, they have the answer. God basically is responsible for transcendental categories, and that's it. And there's no other way it can be. And not only that, but it has to be the Christian God, because reasons. I'm not sure what the reasons are. Always sort of baffles me that they think this argument has some kind of substance. But if you read closely with Van Til and what the hell was his? The next guy, Scott would know it. The big promoter of Van Til, who was that?
I can picture him in my brain, but
right.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, here you are trying to drag it back up.
Huh? Bonson?
Yeah, Bonson.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, if you read their books in many different places, they show their cards. They show that what the whole purpose is to shut everybody else up, and they do it, with this going around transcendental. They'll try to undermine anything you say. So, and then they'll say, oh, Kant, we know so much about philosophy that we got this from Immanuel Kant. And I don't know, ChatGPT kind of differs with them. But to show you the arrogance, let me see if I can full screen layout. Let's see if I can play. I just want you to look at his face more than anything else. And this is for slow boys, I think. Yeah, he calls this guy a slow boy, and it's a pretty honest guy that's trying to have a talk with him.
I was not raised in the church, and I basically developed on atheism due to just a lack of anything else. How is it? I don't think it is possible to convince somebody who is in that situation and also is a logical person who relies on rational arguments to come to conclusions. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't have a lot of faith.
He's writing on his little whiteboard now. He's got a little tiny whiteboard. I've got like 5 or 6 8-foot by 4-foot whiteboards. He's got a little tiny whiteboard. So who's better, boys and girls?
Points to just take somebody's word for it that there is a God, that Jesus Christ is that God, and all the other things that go along with that. How do you believe it is possible to convince somebody like that?
First and foremost, no, I do think that there is logical, demonstrable proof for the Christian God. I think the transcendental argument is a valid, sound, logical argument. I think that the argument is itself about the status of logic and reason itself. So no, I would not ask a person to believe Christianity just simply on hearsay or because somebody claimed to have had XYZ experience. I
have a better video that we could go through, but let's see. I wonder if we should do some background on transcendental, on what transcendental categories are. What do you think, Scott? First,
if you got to the info, go ahead and mention it.
Oh yeah, let's see where do I have it? Mac OS screen. Okay, I gotta turn on my video, and then I gotta make me big again. By
the way, we have some very distinguished participants in our live chat.
Do we?
We have 30 Rodent, Phantom X11. God equals the square root of -1 has graced us with his imaginary presence.
Okay. What do we got? We got to keep an eye on chat because we want to engage a little bit. Or you morally justifying there are good reasons without a creator God? How to justify your request for it? Yeah. That's kind of what I want to get to with some of this. And they keep, they say, let's see, the necessary conditions for logic and knowledge, basically, is what they're talking about. So they believe that God is the only excuse you can give as a necessary condition for logic and reason and knowledge, that sort of thing. And they kind of pull God out of their ass because God works really well because God can do anything, right? You can fill in.
Let's imagine something that grounds something that may not need grounding.
Right. And we can say X grounds it. And like, why does X ground it? Because X accounts for all of it, right? So, I mean, I can tell you a story about X to show you that X basically is a necessary precondition for, but is it a necessary precondition or are there other conditions? I mean, is it just that one? Because X can kind of be anything, right? So I don't think so. Oh no, toast is contingent. Let's see. How does a God guy know he's not a brain in a vat? Yeah, right. And a brain and a brain in a vat, which is, and the vat is in a brain, and another vat, which is in a brain, in another vat, in another vat, on and on until infinity. I think that kind of defines God. Okay, so let's see. What does Kant mean by transcendental? How does it compare with the Christian idiots? I kind of loaded this a little bit for ChatGPT. You can see. Can you tell that I kind of loaded the argument?
It's definitely loaded.
A little bit. That are using tag. Kant's word transcendental has a precise technical meaning. It has nothing to do with Christian apologist tag argument. The two uses share a syllable, and nothing more. The apologists are playing etymological dress up, which I love. I love ChatGPT sometimes, especially when it agrees with me.
That is a good turn of phrase.
Yeah. Etymological dress up. Good one. Kant coins transcendental from the word whatever, climb across, go beyond. Oh no. It's Char. I just rejected her. I'm not going to talk to my sister. Not mystical, not supernatural, not God. It's about epistemic machinery built into human cognition. And that's what he was talking about. He was claiming that we have this noumena, basically, and we can't reach it because anything, well, any way to reach it, what we have is phenomena inside the noumena, and we can't reach the noumena with our phenomena because of these necessary transcendental categories, basically. Necessary structures of the mind that shape any possible experience, space-time, causality, and categories of understanding. So this is very interesting. So we have to, sort of pulled mind out of his ass, right? and a lot of idealists do this too. And it's just like mind. Oh, we all know what that is, and we all have mind, and I think, therefore I am, and all that. And I push back against all of that as being something we can just pull out of our butts. And I think it's a very wrong way to look at the universe, and a wrong way to look at metaphysics, basically. Let's see. So, transcendent, illegitimate, metaphysical overreach, transcendental, legitimate analysis of the preconditions of human experience. And I could say a little bit more about that in naturalism. Let's see, he's doing epistemology of the subject, not metaphysics of the universe. When you see events as having causes, that is a feature read off the world directly. Kant says using a category, a built-in conceptual structure to organize sensations into an intelligible world. That's transcendental. It's an analysis of how we can have a coherent experience of the world at all. And I kind of like part ways with him on a sort of the substance of some of this. Tag as used by presuppositionalists like Van Til, Bonson, Saitan, what's his name? Bogart?
Bruggen Cake.
Yeah. Bruggen Cake. Yeah.
B-R-U-G-G.
Yeah, J-Dar, etc. Logic, induction, morality, universals require a Christian God to ground them. Why? Justify that. How do you justify that? Therefore, non-believers borrow these things from a Christian worldview. That's the only way we can think is to borrow shit. Kant is explaining human cognition. Tag tries to smuggle in a deity, and they're trying to explain the noumena.
Who were the Mesopotamians borrowing from, before there was a Judaic religion?
Yeah.
People had views of the world that worked for them and that they would be very hard pressed to change because, worldviews tend to be, baked into people deeply through social training and things like that and education. So who were they borrowing from when they had moral precepts and rules?
Yeah. Phantom X has Phantom X11 has a very good comment here. I have yet to have a theist explain to me why an intentional universe is orderly one and the unintentional one is chaotic, rather than changing mechanically by necessity. And that's sort of brute force naturalism, right? And I can get into how we can justify that. Unfortunately, when you talk to idiots like JayGee, they can't keep their mouth shut long enough to even listen to what you're saying about, how do you justify it? How do you ground things? Anyway, let's see. Where are we? Smuggle in a deity, human okay, here's why religion must be true for logic to work. Kant is doing an analysis of the subject's cognitive architecture, space and time, and things like that are, transcendental categories that we can't get around. There's no possibility of anything at all, let alone knowledge or, making sense, intelligibility. Kant forbids using transcendental arguments to reach God. Tag does exactly that. Okay, so when they try to pretend that they know, that they're real smart because, they understand Kant and his run-on sentences, they're actually going quite a bit against what he is saying. And they'll admit to it once in a while, but anyway, Kant says reason cannot legitimately infer God from transcendental categories. He calls such moves transcendent illusions. He has a word for it. That's pretty good. Tag goes, logic exists, therefore Christian God. Kant would classify that as a textbook case of illegitimate metaphysics. So it equivocates between psychological psychological conditions of knowing and ontological conditions of being. It treats laws of logic as objects needing a metaphysical father figure. Like the laws of logic are something that is tangible and floating out there. And you get to that with this idea of universals, right? Every time you say universals are abstract, you have made yourself, you put your head on the chopping block for these guys. So I will push back against this bullshit that numbers and all those things are abstracts, that they don't exist because there's no such thing as an abstract. And yet there are numbers. We can count on them. Anyway, humans use logic. The universe must be the mind of my particular deity. That's what Kant says. Kant would laugh that out of the room. Pretty good. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. Remove, which I kind of like. Did I remove it? I don't know if I did.
I was looking up the word indirection because the other day, whenever I kept saying that presuppositionalists engage in essentially a form of, and I couldn't think of the word, it was indirection, a way to kind of roundaboutly draw you into and make you think of the legitimacy of a line of thought without really being letting you know that's what they're doing. Like the whole talk of putting God in as a ground of being or a ground of this, or the thing that makes reason or laws of logic possible. That's just no different than saying toast makes logic logical, or you instantiate truth by toast, the wonder of toast. And if you can just put any old phrase in there and say that that's the ultimate, or that's the ground, like that's just kind of a form of indirection, making you think you're doing something substantive when you're really not.
Yeah.
Because all I see replacing God talk as the ground of this or the source of that. How do you justify the laws of logic? When you say God, you're just putting something in there that can't be confirmed to exist. Right. Therefore, you're putting a fantasy in there. I can't confirm unicorns or Batman or other things to exist. So I just put it in there. I just make it up. I pretend as if it exists until people start assuming it exists.
And the project the project that Kant was up to is that he was trying to show that if you you cannot justify the framework, the transcendental categories. You cannot justify them with the transcendental categories or within the transcendental categories. That we're stuck in this phenomena and we can't reach out to the noumena, basically. So he was doing just the opposite. And they're saying, oh, how do you justify it? I justify it with God. And it's like, or X. I will justify it with X. So, but I think from the standpoint of us humans and what we do on a daily basis, I think we can start with something else and we can justify it, basically. This naturalistic worldview that I have is basically it's a given. And I can't tell you why the laws of the universe work the way they do, because that would be hyperphysics, right? That would be metaphysics. And some very good physicists and mathematicians are working on precisely that. They're trying to come up with this overall framework that explains quantum fields and all of that. But I can't do it, and I don't need to do it, because I've lived my entire life within those categories of space-time and particles inside of space-time and things in space-time. I've lived my entire life that way, and that's all I got. That's all I have seen, and basically all I know. And in order to make anything intelligible, I am stuck with using those categories. And it's kind of what Kant was saying. Does that make sense? Oh, certainty exists is here. You sniping bastard. You put a link to my video in your video that you paired without my permission. Because that is just bad etiquette. I mean, aren't you supposed to be a Christian? Don't you have ethics? I mean, God, he went and sniped my video and he didn't even put a link to my video in it. Anyway, where are we here? Mike already threw away transcendental categories, blah, 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 which include time and space. Mike already threw away transcendental categories, which include time and space the other day. This is after asking what are transcendental, and he is just learning about this, right? I'm afraid I learned about transcendental argument probably before you were fucking born. I don't know. These people, they think they're so goddamn smart. Shit. I do too, I guess, to be fair. Don't we all? Okay. There's a guy called...
I want to welcome the mighty Filbert. He has joined us.
Oh, good. Let's see. the power of transcendentals. The power, yeah, okay. What is his name? You ever heard of Connor Tierney? I'm about to share his.
The name sounds
thing.
familiar, but Connor is a familiar name, as well as Tierney in some circles.
Yeah, full screen layout. And why did that go back out of cedar mode? Come on, go back. Okay, so this video has he's actually got a little talk in here about the tag.
No, I do think that there is logical, demonstrable proof for the Christian God. I think the transcendental argument is a valid, sound, logical argument.
Okay, this is a
I
repeat.
think that reason itself, hearsay, or
these necessary preconditions for knowledge are in place, and that the necessary condition of these things is God, and that's the argument for God's existence.
I hear you. When I'm agreeing with you, here's where we agree. We agree that logic is a necessary condition for knowledge. We agree on those things. What we don't agree on is that God is a precondition for that. What I'm asking you to demonstrate, because you're claiming God is a precondition, is that the God actually exists to be a precondition. Simply saying
the arguments already for God's
precondition.
existence. This is what you're missing.
And so where's the demonstration for that other than an
the
assertion?
debate right now is the demonstration.
No, it's not. I mean, if we're just going to make flat out assertions, then you assert your right.
That's an argument.
It's not an argument. You haven't presented a single argument for the entire thing. You've presented colloquial, kind of loose arguments, but there's not. The whole thing is you claimed that this shouldn't exist in my worldview, that logical absolutes could not be true under my worldview. The fact that you're presupposing that there is an explanation for why they're absolute rather than just recognizing that they are.
That would be being arbitrary and being ad hoc, and typically in debates that's not allowed.
What is the transcendental argument for the existence of God, often referred to just as TAG?
So what did he just say to Matt Dillahunty? You remember that debate? That was kind of the famous first debate between Jay Dyer and Matt Dillahunty.
I never saw that.
Oh, I did a long time ago. And anyway, so Matt was saying that, oh God, I forgot what Matt was saying. I guess I better just move on. So here we have the argument begins at the most paradigmatic level to prove that God must exist. It argues for the preconditions of experience itself being rooted in God. How? Tell me how. How is it rooted in God? And without God, there is no justification for those preconditions.
I believe the same thing about toast.
Yeah.
That has been revealed to me.
Okay. This is just, okay, they say it's rooted in God, but they got to tell you how it's rooted in God. And they'll go back and tell you the whole, oh, God just made it that way story, right? Which doesn't mean a fucking thing. It doesn't, it's a non sequitur. You can't just restate your argument, right? Well, how does God justify it? Well, God just does justify it. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? How God does it, because God can do anything. Anyway,
I was reading this article on Masterclass about misdirection, which they use synonymously with the idea of indirection, and 7 types of misdirection tricks in magic or illusionism or mentalism. Number 3 is listed as patter, talking rapidly and just mentioning all sorts of things. And society engages in patter when it includes religion. There's all sorts of religious beliefs out there in the air, and of course, in churches, you have God talk all around you to the point where people just assume that when you talk about God, you're talking about something.
Right.
And that's what this is. It's just indirection. God doesn't justify anything because something has to exist in order to be behind justification of anything. Yeah. God doesn't ground anything because there has to be ground to ground things too. You need to show that God exists. Otherwise, you're just making up words, putting them in the sentence and saying, that's the key. That's the thing.
Yep. I Does certainty exist have a wrench? No.
No.
Don't give him a wrench. I'm kind of not inclined to. I don't know. But maybe I'll post his channel if I can find it here. Do you think I should? He's gonna review this later, and it's just gonna be a shit show. I mean, the guy can't.
I think you've given the fella plenty of attention in the past.
Yeah, he's learned. He's learned how to like speak the. He's learned how to speak the language, right? And it's like
the pattern.
And yeah, the pattern. He just keeps repeating it over and over. How do you justify that? Blah blah blah. Okay. So this number 2 point here, and without God, there is no justification for these preconditions. Well, wait a minute. Then if there's no justification, why do they keep asking us to justify it? And oh, wait a minute. They ask us and then they cut us off as soon as we start talking. They'll go to another outer realm and ask you, how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that?
It's just a show. It's just performance.
So it's just a show. It's not a real conversation.
Because
you're having a real conversation.
Who admitted or who said that the whole point of their apologetic is to shut the mouth of the atheist. And so at first you think, well, maybe he means in terms of argumentation, but actually it just means in interrupting and being rude. And, getting you off the subject. Yeah, basically trying to put on a show for your believers. You know, it's like, oh, look at the atheist; he's just floundering. He had to ask me. He had to ask me what transcendental means. I was asking the jerk to explain what it means to him, and he thought I was like, oh, it's the first time I've ever heard of it. It's like, and it's that kind of fucking rhetoric that just doesn't do us any good at all. Because I've any presuppositionalist who would listen to me long enough knows I just need one thing. I need to know why they think God exists. Yeah. And just saying, well, you have to presuppose he exists is just laughable. And it's just not going to work. It's just not. You have to convince me that God exists before you can convince me that your view of God is correct. Yeah. Oh, Austin, the Y chromosome and Donnie Badinsky. Okay, the Y chromosome varies like crazy amongst primates, particularly chimpanzees. You want to talk to Erica about that a little bit because she's looked into it. But the Y chromosome. Watch her videos. She really sources her stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the Y chromosome has very few genes in it because like girls don't need it. and they function just fine. In fact, I think they function a little bit better than us. And they don't have Y chromosome. So the Y chromosome doesn't have a lot of genes, got a lot of repeat areas, and it has this incredible flux where it mutates in very, very broad ways. But anyway, I want to talk about biology, right? We're talking about philosophy. Philosyphilis. That's what philosophy is. Philosyphilis. Syphilis for the brain. What preconditions? The laws of logic, non-contradiction, excluded middle, induction, morality, language and meaning, number theories, and so on. The question asked of one's opponent then is, how are these preconditions, presuppositions justified in one's worldview? Okay, coming at it from a Kantian point of view, we have something out there that we cannot grasp at all called noumena, and whatever that is has created this world of regularity, logic, laws of physics, time and space with particles in it, okay, which is very important. Time and space and something in it that has, like, every two particles have a relationship between them that would be their distance in time and space, okay? So there's this metric of distance, and all of that's built in. And like I say, if you want to understand how that happened, you're talking about silly questions like what happened before the Big Bang, what is outside the universe, all of which are meaningless, of course, because there is no outside of space and time. There is no before space and time. There is no after space and time. So we are stuck in the middle, and we find ourselves, we wake up in this world of regularity, of physical laws, and we do not need to justify them because they are something that's happening to us, basically, and we don't have any fucking choice. And without them, there would be not only no intelligibility, but there would be no us at all. There'd be no difference between you and me, Scott, and we couldn't have a conversation because we'd be one and the same little blob, you know? So anyway, that's why I would say that metaphysics is just hyperphysics. It's very complicated physics. And that's the only way that you're going to reach out there and figure it out is with some really, really high-level mathematics like string theory. And at best, you're only going to come up with a model that explains, our universe as a physical model inside of that model. And you may never be able to test that to figure out what it is. So metaphysics is just physics. I will insist that the metaphysics that makes sense is just physics. We're talking about why there can be two particles and why they are a certain distance apart. And then, of course, if you have three particles, you automatically have allowed for the structure of triangles. So triangles do exist in space. Anywhere that you can pick three particles, you will have a triangle between them. That's just built into our reality. And we have a whole lot of I don't know what it is. And I don't care because it ain't going away. It's regular. For me, it's been regular for, 27,346 days, and I'm cool with that. Anyway, metaphysics is not
Leo looks like he wants to disagree with you.
Yeah, he does. Just like metalogic is not logic, just like metalanguage. Bullshit. Metaphysics is just physics. There is nothing outside of it that you can point to. You're just fooling yourself. Coming up with a metaphysical system that can explain everything with rhetoric, with words, with philosophy is bullshit. Only way you're going to explain this reality is with some hyper mathematics that we haven't even touched yet. So anyway. Yeah. And Leo is also against my universals, I think, that there are triangles. Anyway, want to see what this guy has to say? See if he can come up with anything reasonable.
What guy?
The guy I got on the screen.
Talking about Dyer?
No. This is Connor Tierney.
Oh, I thought he was a boxer.
Oh, is he? Maybe he is.
Well, there can obviously be more than one Connor Tierney.
Well, he could be both a boxer and a presuppositionalist.
It's possible, but can a boxer?
Well, let's find out.
Can a boxer do a?
Well, wait a minute. Let's go look.
PowerPoint presentation.
I don't know if they can. Depends on how much they got boxed. Pete Beats. He's got like 5 videos. No, he's got more than that. He's got more videos. I'm trying to figure out who he is and what he is. He's got something called Brent Wave, Orthodox Bishop and Priests on Forgiveness, Literature and Logos. Okay, so he's an Eastern. He's a Jim Bob guy. He's a Jim Bobian. A J Diarrhean. Oh, a J Diarrhean. I like that. J. How do I spell that? Oh.
Okay, here's a meta question or a behind the scenes question. On the comments inside StreamYard.
Yeah.
Some of the cards there with the comments on them have a question mark in the upper right hand corner. What's that for? Because when I put my cursor over it, it turns into a star, and then the vertical 3 dots. Don't know what that means. Leophilius And a couple of his cards has the question mark.
Yeah,
but
and
not in
certainty
all of
exists,
them.
has it? Well,
And-
let me, not going away because it's regular. Where did this ridiculous philosophy you're speaking of come from? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're not making any sense. But let's go back now. Okay, it still has a question mark. Oh, it's because he has a question mark in his comment. That's it.
Oh, okay. It
all it is.
signifies a question. Very good. Yeah, because I have no real questions about Leophilius other than what he's been doing lately and how's the family.
I think he is trying to say that regular is some derivation of being reality or in a reality. Regularity is what we wake up in every morning of our lives, every single one of us. You can't deny it. It's brute fact. The regularity of the universe is brute fact. You would disintegrate without it. My son showed me a wonderful physics video today on, I don't know. He's on, I don't know what he's on. Some, what do they call it? What is the thing that China owns and we were trying to buy it? TikTok, yeah. Anyway, it was on TikTok, I think. And this physicist was asked a question. A guy imagined what would happen if every atom in your body had one electron added to it suddenly, instantly. If we added one electron to every atom, so carbon would become nitrogen and on and on.
No. Do you mean one proton or one electron?
One electron. Yeah. Okay. Carbon wouldn't become nitrogen. It would become what the hell?
An ion of some sort.
Yeah, it'd be a real problem. And
yeah,
anyway,
it
so
would cause all sorts of chaos in our body. I mean, because certain things, if they become an ion, will cause breakdowns of maybe even vital functions.
Worse. Okay, it's much worse than that. He did the math with how many coulombs would be generated by the electrons repelling each other and the addition of the electrons. And the bottom line is he went through this whole thing, got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it ended up being something that was a black hole that was 1 trillion times the size of our universe. That would happen instantly if just you had one electron added to every atom. It would create a black hole 1 trillion times the size of the universe. That would suck. Don't wish for that. If you get 3 wishes, never wish for that one. Don't do that one. Anyway, I'm not sure what. Yeah, was that JayGee you're talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, that certainly exists. Handle, also known as JayGee. And
yeah, JayGee is he's like a wind-up toy that just keeps repeating the same garbage over and over again. Except every now and then he gets arrogant on us, and I think that's like original material. But his arrogance is always original. It's always more arrogance. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Certainty, yeah, okay, yeah. We want to make it clear that these are the same piece. No, I don't have an aversion to philosophy. Good philosophy, I love it. And like I say, I've got like 200 philosophy books, and they're good ones. They're not. Well, I have some garbage philosophy, like from the Christian apologists, but I love philosophy and always have. It's just that we've got to fucking we've got to occasionally stop and say, look around you, look around what you're doing today, and ask yourself if any of the rhetorical bullshit that you just put out in volume actually connects in any way with your real life, with what your life is as you know it. And philosophy is always trying to like abstract away from the reality that we are all invested in and embedded in, and that we are, in fact, it is us. We aren't embedded in reality. We are a piece of that reality, right? And we keep getting away from it, and that's sort of bothersome. I came up with an idea. We always think that we have a view of the world, that we are a thing that is having a view of the world, and we're getting the sense data and all that. And I'm saying, no, that's totally wrong. We are an evolving view of the world. We are like a dust devil in the world, okay? And our mind is that dust devil moving very fast across the plains until we die, and then the dust devil just falls down and we become dust again. So it's kind of a different way to look at it. Instead of say this whole idea of spirit mind, that we are a thing perceiving, we are a mind, or somehow our consciousness is like looking at stuff, right? There's no such thing. There is no looker. And that's very hard to get your mind around, right? There I did it again, mind around, right? Because, well, it's hard to get your mind around this because there really is no such thing as mind. This is a fiction that we have embedded in our culture, our language, in everything about us is based on this idea that we are this mind looking out on the world. None of that exists. That ain't true. So anyway, we just be blobs of goo. We be blobs of goo moving around like a dust devil. That is my philosophy, and I'm sticking to it. Well, Scott, play video.
Say what?
Should we play the video?
Sure. We're at 42 minutes, and I didn't know how long you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I don't care. I'm having a good time. I had surgery yesterday, and cataract surgery, and it was the worst part about it is I went blind, like completely fucking blind. And they put I can't show it to you because I have that full screen, and I'm not gonna worry about that right now. But they put an X above my right eye, and I can't get it off with anything. Does anybody know how to remove an X above your right eye? Because it looks like I have melanoma, and I don't know how to get it off. I'm going to ask him when I go to the doctor today. How the fuck do I get this X off? And the other thing is I was completely blind in my right eye after surgery. Wow, is that an experience? Holy shit. Let's see. Top Dog has something to say. We are a part of this universe. We are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of these facts, that the universe is in us. Neil deGrasse Tyson. The cosmos within us. What else we got? Okay. Here we go.
One thing I was going to suggest is that rather than try to get rid of that mark on your forehead, embrace it and have a tattoo built around it.
I should have a permanent X. Transcendental argument proves nothing at all, but I find it hard to articulate why it's so stupid. I know. And that's what we're trying to do. It's like
one article I was reading about the topic points out that it's probably premised on a false dichotomy. You go if P, then not P, not P, therefore P. I think I may be misstating that the other way, wrong way around, but the premise depends on a true dichotomy, and the presuppositionalists aren't really providing you with a true dichotomy.
Okay, what did you say it was? Repeat that. Let's see, you said it was, tautology, right?
No, well, not a true dichotomy.
Okay. How's the tag of tautology? I just asked it. See if you can elucidate that.
Where's my article? Shoot. Thought I had it open.
It's a tautology because its conclusion is already smuggled into its premises. Basic tag structures, logic, induction, morality, etc., require a precondition. Only the Christian God can supply that precondition. Therefore, the Christian God exists. Number 2 is a problem. And precondition, I don't know what they mean by that. When you think about the reality of the universe that we live in, precondition and causality, that thing, those are the categories that Kant was talking about that we use for intelligibility. They're a function of our mind, They aren't necessarily ontology. Okay, the ontology out there is something way different from that. So this idea of a precondition is flawed to begin with. That there has to be a cause or precondition of reality itself. Why? Why does there have to be? And what the fuck could that possibly be?
Let's see. Here's the form of the disjunctive syllogism with a true dichotomy: P or not P, not P, therefore P. If you substitute P for not P in the second premise, the argument becomes P or not P, P, therefore P. The first premise is now clearly redundant. We could drop it, and the argument would simply be P, therefore P, which is obviously circular, and that's what they're trying to hide.
That is right. Okay, that's cool. Can you link that? Put that in public chat and private chat? I need to put it in the description. Okay, precondition is transcendental. No, precondition is bullshit. You're talking about bullshit when you're talking about preconditions. It's not a transcendental category, basically. Well, Kant kind of says that the transcendental categories are how a precondition for our mind to work. He doesn't say it's a precondition for the universe. Kant doesn't say that. Here, Leo has it. Conclusion of an argument being contained in one or more of the premises is begging the question, not a tautology. Okay. Tautology is analytically true. Thank you, Leo.
Here is a question for JayGee.
You making one?
No, Leo, it's on the screen in front of you. Leo Phileas asked it, and
tell us what a transcendental is.
That's just not the definition.
Transcendentals are the preconditions necessary for. No, that's not. That's probably an example of what you might derive from such an idea, but it really isn't. Doesn't tell you what it is. Let's see. Alt C. Okay, I want to put this in my description. This is the Matt Slick fallacy.
That's the name of the document. Yes.
All right. So. Am
I typing?
You are. Oh, when Scott's typing. Something it's kind of relaxing. It sort of puts me to sleep. It's like those thunder and rain videos that you listen to. I mean, could you do that all night for me so I can sleep better?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What is intelligibility? What we're doing, kind of. Oh, he says, look it up. Oh, no, look it up. Look it up, guys. Look up what transcendentals are. Blah, 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 blah. What are you going to find? Jay Dyer and bullshit. Oh, let's see what else he's got to say here. He's fun. These guys don't know what they are doing. They're rejecting philosophy as a part of their philosophy. Blah, blah, blah. So you're not capable of giving an analysis of your own terms.
Yeah,
wow.
We just asked him for a definition and he won't give one. See, that is the thing, is avoiding direct questions. It's part of, it's a flaw, but it's actually a part of the plan.
Yeah.
Is don't answer their questions. It's almost like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. Since the entire universe is intelligible with enough understanding of it. Let's see here. I need a monkey at a typewriter. Oh, yeah. I need a monkey. That's what I need. I'm going to go buy a monkey and a typewriter. Since the entire universe is intelligible with enough understanding, the phrase is clearly meaningless. What to make of that one? Anyway. Intelligibility. Yeah. You brought it here. Tell us what it is. What is intelligibility?
Also, a lot of these approaches really engage in a whole lot of equivocation. So we do need to know what intelligibility means to him. And I don't think that what he gave as a definition for transcendental is really a definition of transcendental.
Did he say it?
Not even define transcendentals.
Okay, where did he try to say it? Okay, what is transcendental? Look it up. Transcendentals are preconditions necessary for it. No, that is not what transcendental is all about. Kant wrote an entire fucking book about this.
So in his entire approach to studying philosophy, our friend has not looked up the word transcendental to know what it means.
Yeah, well, maybe I disagree with myself there. Kant was saying a precondition for, for us to know anything at all, basically, or to have any kind of thoughts. I would go further and say it's a precondition for any kind of existence at all. But when you think about it, there is nothing transcendent out there outside of everything that is. Everything that is, there is no outside of space-time. There is no before space-time. There is no after space-time. So there is nothing that's transcendent, basically. Not to say that there isn't some weirder structure, mathematical structure of the universe that renders space-time particles for us. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that basically that is what the universe is. It is that thing that you're trying to reach for. You're trying to come up with something outside of the universe. And of course, if you can imagine something that happens before space-time itself, then you're talking about something you've made up called God. And that's just fucking bullshit. That's fantasy. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing. There can't be. Anyway. Oh, I lost the thread here. Oh, let's see. Oh my God, people are talking. Let's see. Okay, we got a Leo here. Push back. Use the word. Clearly, you had some concept in mind when you use the word. And I'm asking you to give me an analysis of that concept. What do you mean by your word? That's what I was asking him the other day, and he went and did a whole video on it. Let's see. Yeah, he was pretty rude. Anyway, he always is. Concepts can be transferred to the written word. Accuracy may suffer, but the idea can be held. So thought alone is not what is holding it. Interesting. Let's see. So he hasn't told us yet. He hasn't responded to Leah's question. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Which is why you can't give an analysis of the meaning. It's disingenuous. Shows your ignorance. Thank you, Leo. I agree. Okay, I'm going to play this guy for a minute. See if he's got anything new for us.
JayGee. I think a good metaphor for this is everybody, when they're looking onto reality, when we're looking onto the world, we're all looking through a window. But many of us don't take account of the window frame, right? The assumptions that are surrounding our perspective. And so this is what this argument is doing, is we're actually taking a step back, we're zooming out a bit, and we're addressing the framework of one's worldview, the framework of the window on which they are perceiving reality.
Okay. So that's a mistake I was talking about. That's the whole fucking thing. It's we have this idea that we are this spirit mind looking out a window onto reality. Okay. And they're asking, oh, what is the window frame? Well, okay, none of that exists if you get over the idea that we are something, a spirit mind looking out at reality. That's not what the fuck's going on here. So what do we do? What do we know? What we know is what is right in front of us, the regularity and our memory, we can trust of our lives, all of that. We have no choice but to trust that. And we do trust it. And we do each do this every single fucking minute of our lives. We rely on that regularity. We accept it. It's what's happening here. We find ourselves in the middle of it, and we start looking out and we poke around with philosophy and metaphysics and dialogue, and we try to figure it out. But you make a mistake when you start thinking that you are a spirit mind looking out at the world through some window frame. And that is a mistake. That's where I part ways with philosophy, when they just make those assumptions and they come up with bullshit statements like "I think, therefore I am," which is just crap to me. Anyway, let's see. We got Brooklyn. We got Leo. Why would anybody have a discussion with
it's
somebody?
Brooklyn Lou. You know, I didn't really notice the Lou part of that. It's Brooklyn. How you doing?
Yeah, I
Brooklyn?
know. I caught it. Yeah. Why would anybody want to have a discussion with somebody who's incapable of giving a meaningful analysis of the words or concepts that employ? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he does not answer direct questions, and
In fact,
tries to change the subject, and then wants to get all Phil bro about things, like telling us that we're scared to talk to him. No, we're too annoyed by you, JayGee, to talk
too annoyed.
Huh? Just like we would be annoyed by a life insurance salesman, televangelist, traveling preacher who's just trying to get our money, a politician. Those are the kinds of things that make it to where talking to you, you certainly have to be in a certain state of mind to do that.
Yeah, you have to. I suggest ketamine. I had some of that yesterday, and it works really well for really annoying shit.
Yeah, because it's really a personality flaw when you just want to dominate the conversation and use trickery to try to keep the person who's trying to have a discussion with you on the defensive.
Yeah, and that's a whole Ventilian scheme. And like I say, if you read their books, they admit it over and over again that this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to shut up their opponents, basically. And for them, that amounts to a proof of God, that if you can keep shutting your opponent up. Extended car warranty, guys. So Brooklyn, they're saying more than that. They're saying that it's necessary for any of us to be like atheists to have intelligibility, and they believe that atheists have no justification for what they believe in. Well, let's extend that. Let's take a look at the lumberjack lives in a cabin out in the North Woods. How does he justify his intelligibility? How does he justify what he's doing when he goes out and cuts down a tree? How do you justify that? I mean, I think if you went up and sat him down and asked him, how do you justify that? I think you might get punched. You might want to wear a helmet. I don't know. That's the thing. There's sort of this idea I have in philosophy that you got to bring it home. You got to bring it down to what's right in front of you, right here, right now, right? And you don't look at... you don't start understanding the universe as if you just started to happen 5 minutes ago, right? And you're looking out and you got to justify everything and figure everything out. You had an entire life, and you can bring that entire life to play. And that's where you come up with naturalism is what everybody does. It's what organisms do in their life. And then you look at it and you say, well, what am I? And you realize I'm a biologic organism. And then, and only then, do you start to understand what the hell's really going on. Once you realize that you are just another thing in the universe, you're trying to abstract around and, get rid of that. Anyway. Oh, let's see here. We got Leo. Let's see. Okay. A form of the deductive argument of the form y of x, therefore y. Yeah. But as you pointed out with that article that we linked in the description, did I save that?
Okay, I have zero competence in the symbols here. I know that y and then the two f's, it makes it if and only if x. Yep. Oh, that the three dots is just therefore? So
Yeah.
why, if and only if X implying obtains, X obtains,
Yeah.
therefore Y.
Y.
Okay, which is
Yeah.
which is the narrative that you wrote just below it. So thank you, Leophilus.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Okay, and then the next part is one may say something like Y is necessary for X, X obtains, therefore Y must obtain. Really? Okay, the tag is like all over. I mean, we're filthy with it on the YouTube. If you listen to Jim Bob and Jay Dyer and the Eastern Orthodox people, find it odd that its physical manifestation is chasing around each other. I'm not sure what that means. Do you know what that means? Its physical manifested chasing around each other's with fingers.
I'm not quite sure. Brian
know.
Stevens.
It's brilliant anyway. It's brilliant.
Clarify that for us. Yeah, I'm sure it's brilliant.
Yeah. You should shove God into any
There's
gap.
the Ryan Murphy one.
Yep. Arguments like this seem to be trying to pull the God concept out of any gap. Yeah. Oh, but what do you mean by gap? How do you justify that? What's a gap? When I encountered it, I was seen to not grant one of its premises. Yeah. The second part that it argues for, let's see, it says being rooted in God. Without God, there is no justification. I mean, that's just blatant assertion, right? They're saying without X, which I can basically make up with any properties I want, you can't have Y. And because I can explain Y with my made-up story of X, therefore X is necessary for Y. And then they go on to say there's no justification without it, basically. Meaning that all the rest of philosophy besides Van Til is false. Just throw all that away, burn all those books, fuck all that stuff. We don't have to talk about any of that. Kind of arrogant, don't you think? Yeah, I quit listening to Jim Bob because you can predict what he's going to say, so it's no longer necessary to listen. Anyway, I am burning out.
Yeah, what you need to do is call your local neighborhood tattoo parlor and come up with a design and just have a tattoo made around that mark on your forehead.
Yep.
That's your assignment for the day.
Yeah, I think we will. The thing to think about is, we have this, here's me, right? Okay, so got a little bit of hair and smiley face, and I got a little X above my right eye now. So anyway, that's me. It's a good depiction of me, I think. And in my body. So this idea that I am a thing that has a view of the universe around me, of the world, basically, that's where the flaw is. That we have this inner view, this mind thing, right? And you want to look at it as there is this entire thing is just this, okay, world, okay? And I am a thing, like a dust devil. I don't know. How do you draw a dust devil like that? Is it a dust devil? I'm just a dust devil.
That's a dust devil.
Across time. Yeah. I'm just like a dust devil whipping across the desert, and that is my life. So my life is just, this whirly thing. And it's really interesting when you start talking about consciousness from this point of view. When you get rid of this idea that there is this thing that is conscious, that this thing that is consciousness is generated, or it becomes some sort of a thing in itself that has representations of the world. When you get rid of that kind of thinking, then and only then can you make progress with figuring out what the fuck is this stuff, this consciousness stuff, right? So anyway, that's what I'm playing with now and rejecting, is that view of the world. It looks more like it's just God damn it. It's just world, period. And I'm a thing in it, and you're a thing in it. And there are all kinds of other things in it, and they're all doing their own thing.
We have
I got this idea
a critique from Benghazi. You didn't show the soul puppeteering the body.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. That's the other part of it is that, there are these strings attached to this spirit mind thing, right? And it's, got to move the body, basically. But that's kind of where I started thinking about this is like I was watching ants in the backyard and I was watching them move around with their legs bobbling up and down. And I'm thinking, is that me? Is that what I'm doing? Is that what my mind is doing? Except I have far more legs than that ant does. And you start getting into what is the subjective experience of being an ant. And you think, oh God, it can't be anything because they don't have a brain. Well, that again gets back to the idea that you're thinking about a spirit brain, that's looking at the world. If you realize your brain just is a bunch of legs bobbing up and down, that's what your brain is doing. It's just a bunch of fucking neurons firing. And that's it. That makes you what you are. You are this whirling dervish that is complicated enough to fool itself into thinking that it's a spirit mind. Mic drop. I quit. Okay.
You just dropped your mic. Is it broken?
Mic drop. Anyway, but think about it. Try to get away from that thinking that we are a thing viewing the world, and think more in terms of my pure naturalism. Anyway, yeah, the brain is it has a lot of fucking neurons. It's amazing. How the hell does an ant get 250,000 neurons? I don't know. God knows what they're doing with it.
Because neurons are itty bitty. And are ant neurons the same size as mammal/human neurons? I've never asked myself that question.
I think they are. Well, they're not as long, obviously, because we have single-celled neurons that are almost a meter long. One cell.
That's hard to believe.
Imagine that. It is. That's why we have a bony spine to protect them, because they can break very easily. Anyway. Oh, let's see. And at least 12 other neural cell types we don't usually pay attention to in the ant in us. Different types of neurons. Yeah, I don't know much about ant brains, to tell you the truth. But I'm tired now, Scott. I want to go away.
I suggest, like I said, go get your tattoo and then take a nap.
Yep,
and
I'm still pretty blind.
I want to thank everybody who joined us in the live chat.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Engaging and interesting, like always.
Yep. And hopefully we'll do it again tomorrow. Well, we can't do it tomorrow because Scott's not around. And I'm nothing without you, Scott. I am nothing without you.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it without you. Anyway, goodbye, everybody. And thank you for showing up. And goodbye, Cruel World. And I really look forward. I'm not going to go watch JayGee probably. I'll try, JayGee. I'll try to listen. Because I wanna hear how fucking dumb your take on what I just said is. So anyway, okay, ready, Scott?
Let's end this beautiful bean footage.
Goodbye, Cruel World. I'll see you all later.